Hello there, this is Welsh ASMR 82. Hey, how you doing? So in today's video we're going to be using this awesome book, The Complete Flags of the World. And I hinted in the first video in this series that I would come back around and take a closer look at some of the more in-depth flags. So in the previous video we just had a browsey through the book and looked at some countries' flags, but in today's video we are focusing on the USA and all of the state flags, plus a couple of bonus ones as well, but alphabetically. We are going to start off with Canada, and we're going to look at the provincial and official flags of Alberta, Manitoba, the Northwest Territories, Ontario, etc. I really hope you enjoy the video, find it interesting, informative, but most importantly it's an ASMR video, so I hope it is relaxing. Drop me a comment if I say anything interesting or incorrect as usual, and if you are at any point in the video enjoying it, then do me a favour and click that like button, that really helps. Thank you in advance. Okay, so Canada, for the crazy people in the world who don't know where it is, this is North America, and it is one of the, I think it's the second largest country in the world on land mass after Russia. Curiously, neither Russia nor Canada have anywhere near the largest populations though. Okay, so Canada, this flag was adopted on the 15th of February 1965, and the red represents the sacrifice made by Canadians during the First World War. The white represents the snowy north of Canada, basically in the Arctic, and a stylized maple leaf has been Canada's national emblem for over 150 years. So, an earlier flag, the Pearson's Pennant, did not meet with universal approval. Efforts to reach a new consensus resulted in a design by George Stanley featuring the traditional Canadian maple leaf emblem and the national colours of red and white. The maple leaf flag was adopted by Parliament in 1965, the Royal Standard. This standard contains the arms of Canada with the personal emblem of Queen Elizabeth II. The quarters show the arms of England, Scotland, Ireland and France. The historical origin for the majority of European settlers to Canada. There's obviously no mention of Wales. The lower stripe shows the red maple leaf, which is Canada's national emblem. I understand why though, because back at this point in time in British history, Ireland was a part of the UK, and Wales was considered not a country but a part of England, a territory or a county of England. So things that happened around this time do not contain the Welsh emblem, but do contain the Irish, which of course is no longer, and hasn't been for some time, a part of the UK. So this is the maple leaves at the bottom, representing Canada's national emblem. They look spikier in this version. The three quarters of the shield represent England with the lions, Scotland with a single lion, Ireland with a harp, and France with the three feathers, I suppose. Homelands of many Canadian people, and that's the Elizabeth, the crown. Maybe this has changed with Charles taking over now. I still find it really odd that this is still has any association with the royal family of England, but there we are. Okay. Provincial and official flags. The date when each province joined the Confederation is shown against the province name. Alphabetically then, I think. Oh no, it's not. Alberta, 1905. The shield dates from 1907 and was placed on a blue field to make a flag in 1967. The shield depicts a scene from the vast wheat lands of the West under St. George's Cross. The English flag. There's the wheat there. This isn't the only flag to have wheat on it. And also Ukraine's flag, the yellow at the bottom, is meant to represent the wheat fields as well. British Columbia 1871. This flag, adopted in 1960, is an armorial banner of the arms granted in 1906. The sun, seen here, is placed over heraldic waters. Represents the sun placed over heraldic waters represents the province's position on the west coast. And that was in 1871 for British Columbia. Okay, Manitoba, 1870. The flag is intended to recall and preserve the old Canadian red ensign, with Manitoba's shield depicting a buffalo on a rock in the fly. It was adopted in 1966. The New Brunswick, 1867. Another armorial banner authorized in 1965. The galley ship represents shipbuilding, once an important industry, and the lion represents New Brunswick's ties with Britain. It's English rather than British. Okay, Newfoundland and Labrador, 1949. The colours of the flag represent all aspects of the province, such as snow, ice and the sea. The design is intended to recall the Union Jack, the territory's previous flag. Okay. The Northwest Territories, 1870. The flag was a competition winner in 1969. It contains the shield from the arms adopted in 1956. The lakes are represented by blue and snow by white. Blue and white. Nova Scotia's is pretty obvious. If you don't speak Latin, Nova Scotia means New Scotland, so lots of Scottish people went over and landed there, and I believe there are some Scots Gaelic speakers still present there. This flag is theoretically the oldest flag of the British Dominion. Nova Scotia means New Scotland. Its flag has a St Andrew's cross in reversed colours with the Scottish Royal Arms. So the Scottish one's the white there and the blue there. And that is still used for the football team of Scotland. Nunavut, 1999, quite a new one. The figure on this flag symbolises the stone monuments used to mark sacred places. The North Star represents the leadership of the community's elders. That's beautiful. Ontario, is it the same? Almost. Manitoba, and then Ontario is just a little bit different there. I think the maple leaves, they look like daffodils. I was thinking it had something to do with Wales. The flag was adopted in 1965 and also attempts to recall and preserve the Canadian red ensign. The shield is from the arms of 1868 and was the first design to use a maple leaf. Oh, okay. Prince Edward Island, 1873. The flag is a banner of the arms granted in 1905. It depicts an island with a great British oak and its descendants under the protection of the British lion, English lion. Quebec, 1867, adopted in 1948. This flag is a modern version of the fleur de lys. No, that's not how you say it. Fleur d'Elysée. Fleur d'Elysée. An old French-Canadian flag. The fleur de lys, oh, that's what I was thinking. Flower is a symbol of France. And then Saskatchewan, 1905. Adopted in 1969, the flag combines the provincial shield, representing forests and grain, with the floral emblem, the western red lily. It's pretty, I like it. Reminds me a bit of the Ukraine flag. And then last four, the Yukon, 1898. Accepted in 1967, the flag uses the 1956 coat of arms, forests, snows and waters. Forests, snows and waters are symbolised by the colours. Cape Breton Island, never heard of it, 1994. This flag was designed by Kelly Gooding as part of a competition and was adopted in 1994 by Cape Breton Island in Nova Scotia. The bird is a bald eagle. Labrador, 1973. The spruce sprigs on this regional flag denote the three races of the larger Newfoundland and Labrador province. And lastly, the Governor-General of Canada in 1981. This flag, dating from 1981, does not use the British Royal Crest. It has its own crest of a lion holding up a maple leaf. And that is lovely Canada. We're going to carry on then with the States. And if you've just landed on planet Earth, here are the United States of America, including Alaska up here. Adopted on the 4th of July, Independence Day, 1960. Only 1960. Not 1860, really. The 50 stars stand for each of the current states of the Union. It's such a young country. I keep forgetting. I mean, maybe the 50th, so they had to change and add an extra star or whatever. It was on that date, but maybe it'll explain down here. 13 stripes stand for the original 13 colonies which formed the USA. When each state was added to the Union, a star was officially added to the flag on the following 4th of July. That makes sense. Okay, answers my question. The first flag used by the Americans was an adaptation of the British red ensign known as the Grand Union flag. From this developed the distinctive stars and stripes, as it is known today, which still has the 13 stripes for each of the original colonies to join the Union, and a star for each state, which is now part of the USA. The largest star was added on the 4th of July 1960 after Hawaii joined the USA in 1959. The latest, not the largest. I was thinking they're all the same size. Sorry, I can't read. A truly national flag, the flag of 1777 marked a break with old colonial ties. It became the first of a new kind of flag, one that celebrated national pride. Its basic design and colour combination was soon copied by other new nations. The Stars and Stripes is an all-purpose flag, but the USA is rich in flags of many other kinds. I think we'll see some in just a moment. The President's Standard. The presidential standard in use today contains the President's version of the national arms and a ring of 50 stars. The coat of arms depicts a spread eagle holding a shield in the style of the Stars and Stripes, 13 arrows and 13 olive leaves, indicating the country is prepared for either war or peace. The motto, E pluribus unum, hang on, oh yes, I can, it's just there, meaning out of many, one, reflects the federal nature of the United States of America. E pluribus unum. It is one out of many. Yeah. Okay. So before we dip into the states, we've actually got some classic flags to check out first. So it says the flags of the War of Independence and the Civil War still have an influence on the American flags of today. This is what the Grand Union flag looked like, with a version of the British flag but without representation of Northern Ireland. This is just representing England and Scotland. The first American flag was adopted from the British red ensign of the time. It was known as the Grand Union flag, i.e. of the union of 13 colonies. These were represented by the 13 stripes of red and white. The flag was introduced in December 1775 for use on land and at sea. Then came the first stars and stripes. On the 14th of June 1777, the Union Jack was removed from the flag in favour of a blue canton with 13 stars, representing a new constellation, which now also represented the United States of America. This was the first use of stars in this way and set a precedent for many later flags. The flag of 1795, when two new states joined the Union in 1795, 2 new stars and 2 new stripes, look as longer, were added to the flag, making 15 stripes and 15 stars. This set a precedent for adding new stripes and stars when each new state joined the Union. The flag soon became known as the Star-Spangled Banner. Five new stars were formed after 1795, but a new flag was not designed until 1817, when Congress decreed that in order to preserve the appearance of the flag, in future only new stars would be added and it would revert to 13 stripes. The new stars were added on the 4th of July 1818, and this system has been followed ever since. Let me know which 2 stripes were dropped off, which states did they represent. If you know, I bet some of you do. The stars and bars. When 7 southern states seceded from the Union in 1861, they marked the start of the American Civil War. These states formed the Confederacy, or Confederate States, and created their own flag on March the 4th, 1861. Known as the Stars and Bars, it originally had 7 stars, but these increased to 13 in the course of 1861 as more states joined the Confederacy. This is one that's quite famous, the Confederate Battle Flag, or Second Naval Jack. This is interesting. The views represented by this flag do not reflect the opinions of the publisher or our contributors. It's very interesting because it does have a negative tone to it, this flag. The Confederate battle flag with its distinctive saltire on a red field, Southern Cross, was introduced in September 1863 and was used by the Confederate Army during the American Civil War. Modern use of this flag carries the legacy of Confederate ideals and is usually a potent symbol for racism and white supremacy, even internationally. Okay, so here we go. First of 50, Alabama. And it says the date when each state joined the Union is shown beside the state name, so 1819. These are in alphabetical order. This flag, which was adopted in 1895, shows a red satire on a white field. It is intended to recall the Southern Cross or Confederate battle flag. I was going to check when did this book come out, because one of the states has changed recently. Previous in 2021, I think. So this won't have that new flag, I'm afraid. Sorry. It might even be Alabama that's changed. Okay. Actually, I'm going to pause the video and see if I can find it. 2 seconds. No, it's Minnesota. So when we come to that one, I'll point it out. Okay, Alaska, 1959. The flag was designed by a schoolboy in 1926 when Alaska was still a territory. It depicts the plough and the northern pole star. Gold also represents Alaska's mineral reserves. Arizona 1912. The red and yellow rays recall the period of Spanish rule, and the copper star represents mineral riches. The flag was designed locally and adopted in 1927. Arkansas in 1836. The flag recalls the Southern Cross. The lower stars represent former colonial powers and the upper star stands for the Confederacy. The flag was adopted in 1913. The very famous one of the California Republic, 1850. The flag is based on that of the California Republic declared at Sonora in 1846. It did not become the state flag until 1911. It depicts a grizzly bear and a star representing freedom. So, Colorado in 1876. The C-shaped emblem contains the colours of Spain, the red and yellow, which once laid claim to this area. The gold ball also represents the state's mineral riches. The flag was adopted in 1911. Okay, Connecticut in 1788. Ooh, one of the originals, I guess. The arms date back to the seal of 1784 and the blue field to the Civil War period when the flag was a Union colour. This design was adopted in 1897. I'll keep an eye out for that. I think quite a few of them in that area do have blue. So is that related to which side of the little Civil War they were on? Interesting. Delaware, 1787. The arms date back to 1777 and the flag adopted in 1913 includes the date Delaware joined the Union at the bottom here. The colours recall the uniforms worn during the War of Independence. Florida, 1845. This is another flag which recalls the Southern Cross used by the Confederacy during the Civil War. The original flag, adopted in 1868, had only the seal. The red satire was added in 1900. Georgia, 1788. The revised state flag for Georgia was introduced in 2003, following objections to the inclusion of the Confederate flag on the previous two designs. The three bars evoke the pre-1956 versions of the flag. Hawaii, 1959. The state flag, originally representing the independent kingdom, was adopted in 1845. The Union Jack recalls a flag given to the king by an army officer in 1793. The stripes stand for the main islands. Idaho, 1890. The flag, originally a military colour, bears the state seal in the centre. Beneath it is a scroll with the state's name. The flag in this form was adopted in 1927 with new specifications in 1957. I like the border. The gold border. Illinois, 1818. Created in 1915, the central emblem of the Illinois flag depicts elements from the state seal, including a bald eagle and a shield of stars and stripes. The name was added beneath this in 1970. Indiana, 1816. The flag was the winning entry in a design competition held in 1916 and was officially adopted in 1917. The stars in the outside circle are for the original states and bottom arc is for the subsequent ones. Iowa, in 1846. The red, white and blue colours stand for French Louisiana, of which Iowa was once a part. In the centre it is the seal of 1847. The flag was adopted in this form in 1921. It's confusing, so it's actually representing somewhere that it is not a part of anymore. Okay, Kansas, 1861. The flag of Kansas follows a very common seal and name pattern. The original flag of 1925 had the seal, recalling settlement and agriculture and a sunflower. the state flower. The name was added in 1963. Okay, Kentucky, 1792. This is another flag derived from the militia colours. The flag was adopted in 1918 and regularized in 1962. Like many state flags, it contains the seal, the state name, and a wreath of golden rod, the state flower. Louisiana, 1812. The pelican, representing self-sacrifice and the state's role as protector, has long been the badge of Louisiana. But the flag was only adopted in 1912 and slightly modified in 2006. In 2010, the pelican was completely redrawn to look more natural. I'd like to see the original version then. Maine, 1820. The flag dates from 1909, when the arms, adopted in 1820, were placed on a blue field. The star and motto recall Maine's northerly location. It was the northernmost state of the Union until Michigan joined in 1837. Maryland. I think I'm going to pronounce it Maryland. I nearly said Maryland. Maryland. 1788. This is the only flag which is a true heraldic banner, reproducing the arms of the Baltimore family, once the proprietors of the state. Each side of the family is represented by 2 quarters. It was adopted in 1904. On to Massachusetts, 1788. The flag was originally adopted in 1908 and revised in 1971, replacing a pine tree with the coat of arms adopted in 1780. The arms depicts a Native American holding a downward-facing bow, denoting peace, and a star that signifies statehood. Michigan, 1837. The arms was adopted in 1832 and placed in a blue field to make the state flag in 1911. The mottos translate to "I will defend" and "If you seek a pleasant peninsula, look about you." Minnesota, 1858. The motto on this flag, the North Star, was retained from when the state was the northernmost in the Union. The flag was originally adopted in 1893 and revised in 1957. Okay. Mississippi, 1817. The previous flag of Mississippi, which dated from 1894, contained elements associated with the Confederacy. This was replaced in 2021 following a flag design competition and referendum with a new flag featuring a magnolia blossom was chosen. Next up, Missouri, 1821. The colours of the flag recall when the region was under French control. The 24 stars stand for Missouri being the 24th state to join the Union. Within the seal itself are another 24 stars. The flag was adopted in 1913. Montana, 1889. The flag is derived from the former state militia colours, while the motto "Gold and Silver" is in Spanish, recalling Spain's claim to the area. The flag was adopted in 1905 and had the name added in 1981. Oro y plata, I assume it says. Nebraska, 1867. The flag of Nebraska was adopted in 1925 and uses the seal which was adopted in 1867. This depicts an allegorical landscape, symbolic of the state's agricultural and industrial development. Nevada, 1864. The flag emerged from design competition and was adopted in 1929. It was revised in 1991, and the state name was placed underneath the boughs of a sagebrush and the star, which represents the state. I can't see anything, it just looks blue to me. Oh, I see, that is it, Nevada. And there's the sagebrush, there's the star. New Hampshire, 1788. The design was adopted in 1909, making use of the seal, which dates back to 1775. It depicts a ship, the Raleigh, being built on the stocks at the town of Portsmouth during the War of Independence. Some yellow ones. New Jersey, 1787. The buff field recalls the uniforms worn during the War of Independence. The flag with the arms was adopted in 1896 and made widely available in 1938. New Mexico, 1912. This flag was adopted in 1925 and uses the sun symbol of the indigenous Zia Pueblo people, while the colours represent the Spanish colonial era. New York, 1788. The flag dates originally from flags used in the War of Independence, but in this form only from 1901. Prior to that, the flag had a buff field. The two figures symbolize liberty and justice. The coat of arms dates from 1777. North Carolina, 1789. The original flag was adopted in 1861 at the outbreak of the Civil War and used colours derived from the stars and bars. The present design dates from 1885. It contains the initials of the state in the blue stripe. North Carolina. North Dakota, 1889. The flag was originally used by the state militia, the North Dakota Infantry, and was adopted in 1911. Almost without alteration, explaining its squarish shape, a version of the national arms is in the centre. Ohio, which is much different, isn't it? The pennant-shaped flag of Ohio is derived from a cavalry guidon of the Civil War period. The 17 stars recall that Ohio was the 17th state to join the Union, and the circle, or O, refers to the state's initial. Oklahoma, 1907. The basic design emerged from a design competition and was adopted in 1925. The flag includes many indigenous symbols, including Osage emblems for peace, and a blue field alluding to the flag of the Choctaw people. The name was added in 1941. Oregon, 1859. This is now the only state flag with a different design on its reverse. The obverse shows the seal within 33 stars, the state's name and its date of admission. It was adopted in 1925. Very unusual to have a two-sided flag. Pennsylvania, 1787. The coat of arms of the state was adopted in 1777 and regularized in 1875. It was placed on a blue field to make the flag in 1907. The shield is supported by 2 horses. Rhode Island in 1790. The anchor, symbolic of hope, has long been the emblem of Rhode Island. The flag, based on a War of Independence flag, was adopted in 1877 and modified in 1897. South Carolina, 1788. The flag was adopted in 1861 at the very start of the Civil War, but contains emblems used during the War of Independence and also used in the state arms. The central palmetto is the state tree. It's pretty. South Dakota, 1889. The flag of South Dakota was adopted in 1963 on the basis of previous models and had the former motto, the Sunshine State around the seal. This was changed to the Mount Rushmore State in 1992. Tennessee, 1796. The 3 stars represent the 3 geographical divisions of the state, whilst its general appearance recalls the Confederate flag or Southern Cross. The flag was adopted in 1905. Texas, the Lone Star State. The flag copies the colours of the Stars and Stripes, but with only 1 star, which dates back to the one found on the plain blue flag of the Republic of Texas. It was adopted in 1839 and retained after Texas joined the Union. Utah, 1896. The beehive in the flag recalls the emblem of the provisional Mormon state of Deseret, and the date commemorates their settlement of the region. In 2011, a new version of the flag corrected the previously misplaced date of 1847 by adding it to the shield, a mistake that had persisted for 89 years. Vermont, 1791. The arms, including the lone pine emblem, date back to when Vermont was independent from 1777 to 91. The present flag, based on the former militia flag, was adopted in 1923. The state name appears on a scroll. Virginia, 1788. The state arms was adopted in 1776. The seal, showing liberty triumphing over tyranny, was placed on the flag in 1861. At the start of the Civil War, the design has been used ever since. Washington, 1889. Washington is known as the Evergreen State, and this is reflected by its flag. It is the only state with a green flag. The seal dates from 1889 and was placed on the flag in 1923. West Virginia, 1863. The coat of arms dates from 1863, when West Virginia seceded from Virginia. The current version of the flag was adopted in 1929 and has the arms within a wreath of rhododendron, the state flower. So we're going to finish off the states and then we're going to look at overseas territory flags, which is quite good, and military flags as well. Wisconsin, 1848. The flag is derived from the militia colours of the Union in 1863. It depicts the state seal, supported by a miner and a sailor. The shield also recalls mining and sailing. The name and the date were added in 1980. Wyoming, 1890. The flag emerged from a design competition and was adopted in 1917. The flag has been revised several times. At one time, the buffalo containing the arms faced the fly. The colours are based on those of the national flag. And lastly, District of Columbia, 1791. The flag of the Federal District of Columbia, also known as Washington, D.C., is based on a banner of the arms of the Washington family, which originated in England and dates back to 1592. It was adopted in 1938 by a Congress commission. So those are the 50 states. Let's do the overseas territory flags next. American Samoa, 1900. A very cool flag. A self-governing US dependency, American Samoa's flag uses its colours to represent the connection to the United States. A bald eagle carrying Samoan emblems symbolises the political relationship between the two nations. Guam, 1917. The flag was designed locally and adopted in 1917. In the centre of the flag, in the US colours, is the seal of the territory, which depicts an idealised landscape. The flag can only be flown with the US flag. Interesting. Northern Mariana Islands. I love this flag. 1972. The original flag was adopted in 1972, but has undergone several modifications, including the addition of the flower wreath. It also depicts a grey latte stone, representing the island's Chamorro culture. Puerto Rico, 1952. Based on the flag of Cuba, this design was approved in 1895 by members of the Puerto Rican Revolutionary Committee in New York City. Typo of. The flag was subsequently banned from use until Puerto Rico became a Commonwealth under US sovereignty in 1952. Lovely flag. Virgin Islands, US, 1921. The flag dates from 1921 and uses part of the US seal with the initials of the islands, Virgin Islands. The 3 arrows in one claw stand for the main islands, and the other claw is an olive branch. And then last but not least, military flags. The US Army has its own flag. The flag bears a blue replica of the War Office seal on a white field. It was officially adopted by President Eisenhower. The date, 1775, underneath the banner refers to the year the Army was formed. And then lastly, the US Air Force, 1951. The flag includes the coat of arms of the US Air Force, the Air Force seal, the 13 stars representing the 13 original colonies. The version of the flag that is used for parades has a gold border. And I think that is all. Oh no, there's two more. US Navy, 1959. The flag bears the seal of the US Navy on a dark blue field and has a yellow banner underneath inscribed with United States Navy. The flag is flown in the Navy's offices, during parades, and on other ceremonial occasions. US Marines, 1939. The gold and scarlet colours of the flag are also the official colours of the Marine Corps. The flag bears the Corps' emblem in the centre and is also known as the battle colour. The flag is used to represent the Corps' units and formations. The US Coast Guard, 1964. The flag bears the Great Seal of the USA on a white field. It is used in parades and ceremonies. The Coast Guard motto, Semper Paratus, which appears at the bottom of the flag, means always ready. And then lastly, the US Space Force, 2019. The flag includes the Delta Wing emblem of the US Space Force. The largest star is Polaris, and the smaller stars represent the space assets protected by the Space Force. The Roman numerals represent 2019, the year the Space Force was founded. I can't believe there's actually a Space Force. And then we've got Mexico over there. And all the other American countries' flags. Okay, I really hope you enjoyed that video, a little bit longer one. So that was a flag video, ASMR flag video on Canada and the USA. If you enjoyed the video, click like. If you are new to the channel, click subscribe. If you want to leave me a comment, then do so. That would be lovely to hear from you. And lastly, if you love what I do on this channel and you want to get extra videos that no one else gets to see, look below in the box and check out my Patreon info, where you can join and get an extra video that I never release on this channel per month. And a second video, which is just a ramble of me talking to camera, telling you what I've been getting up to in the last month. So there's 2 extra videos, plus every single video on this channel is released like a couple of days early, like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of the week before. So you get to see it before everyone else. And of course you get to chat to me as well. Big hello to all the loads of new people I've had in the last month. I think I had like 5 last week. So yeah, welcome everyone. It's really great that so many of us are on Patreon together chatting, and thank you so much for all your support and video ideas. Okay, that's everything from me. Good night, sleep well, and I'll see you again really soon. Okay, take care. Bye 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 bye.